Today's therapy session is from a 47-year-old female who works at a pet store who's having extreme anxiety related to COVID-19 restrictions and the impact that it's going to have on her returning to work. With her generalized anxiety, I've chosen to use 3 methods of psychotherapy. I'll be looking at cognitive behavioral therapy, solution-focused therapy, and compassion therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT therapy, is psychotherapy treatment that helps people to learn how to identify and change destructive and disturbing thought patterns and negative influence of behaviors and emotions, and helps them to focus and replace them with objective and realistic thoughts. Solution-focused therapy is short-term, goal-focused, evidence-based therapy that incorporates positive psychology principles and practices. It helps change constant solutions rather than focusing on the problem. It concentrates on the patient's strength. Focus is more goal-oriented. The last technique is compassion therapy. Compassion therapy allows for clients to focus on compassion and motivation and sympathy, allowing them to be non-judgmental and develop a non-condemning attitude about themselves and others. Welcome. So glad to see you this afternoon. It's been a long time since we spoke, since our last session. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Just trying to make it.
Good. So first I need to ask you for your consent. Do you understand and give consent to the sessions to be video and audio taped and submitted to Brahman University?
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect. Great. So let's get started. So what brings you in today?
Well, I just found that I've been really stressed out about work. I'm just worried about what's going on at work with these masks, that people are going to start wearing them, stop wearing them. I'm worried about my kids. I don't want them to go back to school. I'm worried about, if they go to school and one of the kids is too close and they bring COVID to school, are they going to get sick? And then also I've been worried about my finances because, I lost my job and I haven't been able to work. And so I'm just worried that at some point when they stop doing trying to save us from our landlords, that I'm going to get thrown out of my house. I'm not going to have anywhere to live. I'm just really stressed out. I just got worries all over the place. I just don't know what I'm going to do, and I just need some help.
Okay. So it sounds like you've really been worried and anxious. So how long would you say that you've been feeling like this?
Well, honestly, at least since COVID hit, but it just seems like in the last, I'd say 5 or 6 months, it's gotten really, really bad.
Okay.
That I can't even sleep at night.
Okay.
It's affecting my eating.
Okay.
I feel like recently I've been eating everything in sight. And since I'm not working, I really don't have the money to afford to eat everything going on in the house.
Right.
So, it's just been at least really bad for the last 6 months.
Okay. So what outside of eating, so what are some of the other ways that you found that maybe you've been coping with this?
Well, I've been smoking lots of cigarettes lately.
Okay.
I do find that the nicotine helps me. So I've been smoking. And then I was trying to run recently, but then with my smoking, I found that I'm winded, so I'm not able to run as much. So then I just start smoking more.
Okay.
I had a friend tell me that yoga is helpful, but I haven't really. I found a couple of videos on YouTube. I thought I might try a little yoga because she said it helped her, so I was thinking maybe it could help me too. But really, the only thing I'm doing really consistently is smoking.
Okay.
Smoking the cigarettes that is.
Okay.
Yeah, cigarettes. Smoking cigarettes.
Now, how many cigarettes would you say that you were smoking before, and now, like, how many cigarettes do you think you're smoking now?
So cigarettes, lately I have been smoking about a pack a day.
Okay.
Before COVID, I was maybe only 1 or 2 cigarettes.
Sure.
So I've really been smoking a lot. And it's really bad, my smoking, because cigarettes are expensive and I'm not working. And so then I feel guilty because I'm using the money I do have on cigarettes. So I'm a mess.
Yes, okay. So it sounds to me like some of the ways that you've been coping with smoking, that you've probably increased your smoking intake sufficiently a lot, eating, but you did mention that you were getting back into running and then yoga, right?
Yes. Running's really been hard, so I don't know that I can get back to running right now. But yoga seemed like a really good option because it doesn't require a whole bunch of breathing, I don't think.
Too physically exhausting on you, considering that you've been smoking for quite a bit and your shortness of breath is something we don't want to reactivate. But this would also kind of help calm you down with a little bit of your anxiety and stress. Would you be interested or open to maybe starting the session right now?
Oh, sure, but do I just sit here and do it? Or do I have to do something?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
the beauty of it is that you can basically do it anywhere. It doesn't require you to, move or leave your place. And so I just ask you just to be present while we do this activity. Is that okay?
Sure. I'm going to try anything at this point. That's why I'm here.
Yes, that's good. That's really, really good. All right, so first thing I'd like you to do is to bring awareness to your breath, okay? So I just want you to sit, close your eyes, and notice your natural inhale and exhale of your breath. Just notice the flow of your breath. Next, I'd like you to bring awareness to your feet. Notice your feet connected to the ground. It helps to feel settled and grounded. So notice that your feet, if you're not wearing shoes, notice your shoes on your feet and really allowing all of your awareness to come to your feet. Next, moving up your body, bring your awareness to your legs, even feeling your legs from the insides. Just really allowing your attention to go to your legs, and now moving up your body, bringing your awareness to your torso, noticing your clothing on your body, and even begin to notice the subtleties of your clothing moving as you're breathing. Really just becoming aware of your body right here, right now. And now we begin the imagery of the calm place. So I'd like you to bring to mind a place that you have either been or would like to go that represents somewhere that is very peaceful and very calm. Oftentimes people pick a place in nature, like a river, an ocean, a hiking trail, a lake, a mountain, somewhere that you would either like to go or that you have been that feels settling and calming. And when this place is clear in your mind, I'd like you to fire your 5 senses. So first, in your mind's eye, I would like you to look around this place and see the landscape. See the colors, the textures. Notice if the sun is shining or if it is shady. Become aware of what you would see as you look around. Next, bring awareness to the sounds you would hear. The sounds that are close up and the sounds that you would hear at a distance. Really taking in any of the calming and soothing sounds that are in this place. And next, I'd like you to take in the scents that are in this calming place. If you're at the beach, you might smell the salt water, the sea air, suntan lotion. So just take a moment to take in any of the scents that are in this calming place. Next, I'd like you to take a moment and imagine what this place would feel like on your skin. Are you under the sunlight or shade? Is it warm, humid, or is it cool and brisk? Is it windy? So just take a moment to really imagine what it would feel like to be in this place. And now, I'd like you just to take another moment to absorb anything else that feels particularly calming, and we'll close this practice with 3 soothing inhales and exhales.
I can tell you I couldn't worry about everything else while I was at the beach. So at least I got a break for a few minutes.
That's really good.
Which is nice. I was at the beach and I could hear the waves crashing, the salt water. And when you said like what the weather's like, I almost felt like the sun was on my skin.
Okay.
So that was nice. Yeah, it was really relaxing.
That's really great.
Yeah. So I think that's a good one. I think that's That's a good one.
Now, do you think this is something that you might be able to incorporate at times where you feel a little bit anxious or worried?
Yes, I think that doing something like this would be helpful. I think I about as much, but work is still really hard for me.
Okay. So what about work exactly do you find to be difficult or challenging?
I'm still worried about COVID, and so the 15th was going to come, and here, in California, the people don't have to wear masks anymore. And I really got sick with COVID and was really, really sick. And so now I'm just afraid that, first of all, if these people don't have to wear masks, they'll come into my workplace without their masks and I'll get it again.
Okay.
And I just don't want to feel that sick ever again. And it really just freaks me out thinking that I could get sick again because now people aren't going to wear masks. And, people tend to come to me and ask for when they have questions when I'm at work. They bypass just about everyone else in the store and they really seek me out for support. And I'm just afraid that if they're not wearing masks, someone may come in there with COVID and I will get it again. Okay. And last time I wasn't in the hospital, but I was like down for 3 weeks. And usually when I get upset about things, probably like I go into the break room and leave if I got scared or stressed out about something. So I usually kind of just leave the situation. I don't know that I really address the problem when I'm stressed out or anxious. I just kind of leave, go to another room, talk to myself, like get it together. Okay. And then sometimes I can just talk to myself enough to get my, to feel okay enough to go back out in front, confront what I'm having trouble with. But usually when I get really upset, I try to leave the situation. Okay. So I'll go into another room or something like that and then get myself together and then try and go back. So that's what I've done at work before because there have been a couple of times that I've had issues with my coworkers. Sure. And so instead of having an issue with them, then I'll just like leave the situation and then go and try and handle it on my own in another room. And then I'll come back, gather myself, and then come back and try and deal with it. So that's the only thing I can think of that possibly could be a successful way I've coped with things at work. Okay. I usually try to escape.
All right. Now, has that helped you in terms of just decreasing some of maybe your anxiety or stress when you remove yourself from that situation?
Yes, for the immediate moment when I go away, at least I'm not dealing with the problem. Right. And then I can go, and then once I'm by myself, then I can usually try and talk myself out of, crying or yelling or, just making a bad choice because, I can't start yelling and screaming at people at work. So I go into the other room and I can get it together. And usually I'm able to return to work and then, act like things are okay.
Well, that's definitely a strength, is being able to kind of remove yourself from the situation where you're finding yourself being a little bit worked up or anxious. I mean, that's a great coping mechanism. And then as you shared, talking about telling yourself that you've got this, you can do that. That positive self-talk is really important in helping you kind of, deal and cope with the situation. So that's definitely a strength.
Well, I didn't see it as that. I just thought I was in there crazy talking to myself. I didn't really see it as a strength, but I guess it is.
Yeah, positive self-talk is really good. It helps you kind of, identify ways in which you can kind of get yourself together and go back and tackle the issue which is in front of you. So yeah, you've been using different techniques and strategies to help you deal with some of your stressors. So that's really great to hear. Good job.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's why I came to see you. I always feel better after I come here.
Well, today I'd like us to maybe look at some future goals, or maybe help try to look at some solutions to some of the stress that you have in relation to going back with all the new COVID restrictions being lifted. All right, so I'm going to ask you kind of questions. They sound a little bit odd or strange, right? Okay. But it's deliberate because I want you to look at how maybe you could possibly look to channel some different energy or different ways of kind of coping or dealing with that stressor.
Okay.
All right. So Suppose that you're sleeping tonight and the entire house is quiet and a miracle happens. The miracle is that the problems of which you brought in here today are solved. However, because you're sleeping, you don't know that the miracle has happened, okay? So when you wake up tomorrow morning, what will be different that will tell you that a miracle has happened and that the problem which you brought here today is solved?
Gosh, I really wish there were such thing as miracles.
That we all.
Oh gosh, I sure wish they were, because then I wouldn't have to worry about this crap. But I guess if there was a miracle that happened and it related to me returning back to work, I probably could go to work like pre-COVID, before there was COVID, and like just do my job, go and deal with the customers. I could talk to them without any issues, and it wouldn't be a big.
So here's what I'd like you to do. Maybe I'd like you to look at maybe one or two solutions, one or two things that you can identify between now and our next session, that you see that you were able to kind of identify or address and work through. For example, you shared being anxious or being worried or nervous and dealing with a lot of people. And I know that you work with pets. So maybe if you could, when you're finding yourself getting anxious, maybe you could work towards seeing if maybe you can transition in dealing with pets during that work session, and see if that could help in helping kind of dissipate some of that anxiety or stressors.
So like, are you saying like from at work, asking, maybe talking to my manager and seeing if I could go and maybe bathe the animals or like help in the grooming area so I don't have to work with the customers as much?
Yes, if you feel that you're getting a little bit anxious.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
And then maybe you can come up with something else on your own, and then that next session we can kind of discuss it and see if those interventions helped. Okay, what's going on? What happened?
So I was at work and it was late in the shift, and I was stacking up all these boxes, trying to get the inventory together, and I was rushing. And so I was rushing, and I know better than to rush. Should not be rushing, because when I rush, I make mistakes. And so when I was rushing, I was putting all the boxes together, and then my supervisor came over and she saw that I was not stacking the boxes correctly. So she approached me and she started talking to me and telling me that I wasn't doing it correctly and that I needed to redo it. And honestly, while she was doing all this talking, I almost checked out. Like, I was just not even there. And then I just felt like...
Okay. And then how did you behave in this situation?
I probably didn't behave in the best manner. Probably behaved like a 10-year-old or maybe even a 2-year-old. I guess running off. I ran off, into the break room or the storage room. And so I ran off and did that. Started crying and talking to myself in the storage room.
And what were some of the things that you were saying to yourself?
I'm so stupid. Why didn't I just take the time and do this correctly? If I had just done it right, that she wouldn't have had to come over, and that I know better. Why would I do it this way? I just was really kind of beating myself up in there, just being really, I wasn't being kind to myself. It was just really, beating myself up.
Now, do you do this like often when things arise, or when you are told to like corrected for something that you've done?
Honestly, I haven't really thought about any of this stuff before I started coming to you for therapy. So I haven't really paid much attention to it. Okay. But if I do something wrong, it's, oh, you stupid ass, or sorry, I didn't mean to cuss, sorry.
That's okay.
I may say, oh, you're so dumb, you're so stupid. So I guess I do, but I don't always feel like I'm putting myself down, but I guess I do sometimes say that stuff to myself.
Okay. So maybe in today's session we could kind of address some of that, because the situations that you're explaining or that you're describing, that incident, really doesn't warrant all that kind of negative self-talk. You're a very smart young lady. You've got a great attitude. It seems like you really take your job seriously from what I've seen every time you come and we have therapy together. So what I'd like us to do right now maybe is to look at some positive self-talk, some positive thoughts, or some positive ideas about yourself. Can you share with me maybe 2 or 3 positive, good qualities about yourself?
I spend a lot of time thinking about the positive things, but I think I could tell you a whole bunch of things I don't do right. That takes more effort to find things that I do right. Things I do, positive things about myself.
Yes.
That's hard.
Okay, so I'll give you one that I say about you, and then you give me another one. Maybe that will help you.
Please.
Okay, something positive is that you always have a great attitude and disposition when you come in. You're always very cheerful and happy, even when we're discussing some really tough stuff.
Okay. Can I phone a friend? Let's see. I think that I am intelligent.
Okay.
Although sometimes I don't show it, I do feel like I am smart.
Okay, good. And can you give me another one?
Let's see. Oh, I am caring.
Good.
I do care about certain people.
Good.
The people I love, I do care about them.
Great.
Yeah.
Because one thing it's important to understand with positive self-talk is that our thoughts affect our behavior and our feelings. So if we think good and positive things about ourselves, it will affect how we feel and how we see ourselves.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
So you're saying our thoughts affect how we feel and behave?
Yes.
Okay.
If you're feeling good about yourself and you're thinking good about yourself, it affects how your mood is. It affects how you feel about yourself. It affects the way you do things because you're feeling really good.
That does make sense. I just never have heard of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes sense.
Yeah. So for our session, one activity that I'd like you to work on during our next session is I would like you to create 2 positive statements about yourself. And I want you to write those on an index card. Okay? And every day, in the morning and the evening, for 10, I would like you to repeat that phrase at least 10 times.
Okay.
So the example that you gave me earlier is that you are smart. So every day in the morning, I want you to say 10 times in front of the mirror, I am smart, I am smart, I am smart. Okay?
Okay.
And then at our next session, I want you to come back and we can kind of discuss and see how the activities went.
Okay. 10 times a day?
10 times a day.
Gosh, sounds like a lot, but I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
You haven't let me down yet. So I think I'll give it a try.
Perfect.